Learning the various stations at a job at KFC, I started the first day by shadowing a more experienced team member. After following her around for a while, watching her do various cleaning jobs, use the tills, pack orders and stock up, she showed me the various buttons on the till and how to find specific meals and offers. Once she had shown me how the till worked, I was allowed to play around on the till for a while, familiarising myself with each menu. She would then test me by giving me a practice order, seeing if I could find it all correctly, as well as using the suggestive selling prompts. In order to memorise the menu so I could advise customers on their meal choices, I observed her packing several orders as she provided a monologue of each order. After a while of this, she let me pack some orders while she observed me, giving me prompts when needed. I would then be left alone packing orders, only needing prompts from other team members occasionally. For me, this method of learning through observation was for purely practical uses, and although it was effective working alongside learning through demonstration and through repetition, it would not be effective alone. The key theory used in this example of learning would be the influence of behaviourism, with the use of rote learning through repetition and the notation that demonstration is paramount. Similar to demonstration, observing other behaviour is key. Observing positive and negative behaviour teaches a person to model the desirable and avoid the negative behaviour, as a person's drive to model desirable behaviour is stronger than the drive to follow orders. The teacher allowed me to pack orders similar to each other, packing orders repeatedly. This led me to use my own initiative and logical skills to sieve out the different sections of each meal and understand which part were interchanging from my observations. It also provided opportunity for mistakes. In support of learning through repetition, psychologists Peterson and Peterson found a direct link between rehearsal and memory decay. They conducted an experiment that provided evidence that when rehearsal was prevented, short-term memories only lasted around 20 seconds and wasn't transferred to the long-term memory. So by linking this research to teaching and learning, we can conclude that if information isn't transferred to long-term memory, then the piece of information hasn't been learned. We can now analyse the idea of learning through imitation. In the anecdote, we can analyse why the teacher chose to teach through series of observations. It provided an opportunity to be able to observe and translate the information in a way that you can understand in a real-life prospect. This learning experience works in part because the teacher provided an opportunity for learning through a mix of different methods, through demonstration, imitation and repetition. I was then given the opportunity to not only repeat but to build my own way of completing the task. For example, I got to watch other team members pack orders, I saw their routine, I got to see how each individual did their job and different ways it could have been done. Through observations, I experienced each mistake they made and I got to observe how they corrected these mistakes. I could only experience this kind of in-depth learning through shadowing. The theories explored have strong connections to Thorndike's law of exercise, which focuses on the idea of learning through repetition and practice, and forgetting when this is not. Thorndike concluded that all learning occurs through trial and error, but particular laws guide this experimentation so it's not entirely haphazard. It also has links to Bandura's social learning theory of learning through observation and imitation. Bandura's key argument is that particular behaviour patterns can be acquired by an individual through watching other people perform them. It also highlights the notation that modelling has also been influential, particularly in the teaching of practical and vocational subjects. I could argue that learning through observation and imitation creates a set way of thinking and ignores the idea of critical thinkers, due to the robotic way of observing first the behaviour and then exactly imitating this to meet the standards set in the setting. This creates no opportunity to create, improve and develop upon ideas. We could also argue that the setting in which the learning is taking place limits the learning as its focus is entirely economical, creating like-minded workers with no prospect of intellectual development. It creates a way to take in information and then retaliate this back without first generating any kind of understanding or with no prospect of developing this information as it's limited to its own practical abilities.